Hello, guys. Welcome to Podmatic. I'm not sure what we're calling this, whether it's a brandcast or it's Mid Yorkshire Chamber brandcast, right? Because it's on brand. We've got Rachel over there in the background,
Hiding.
who's hiding, producing us, right? So I think the way we're gonna start is just a brief introduction of the guests on the show, and then we'll sort of get into it. The nature of the podcast or this brandcast is to speak a little bit about the Mid Yorkshire Chamber of Commerce and the upcoming My Conference. Is that correct? And some of the things that have been going on recently. So my name is Isaac. I am founder of this lovely establishment, Podmatic. So what I do is produce podcasts and that sort of thing. So sharing my skill with the chamber. Today we've got Kelly and we've got Hayden. Kelly of Juice Personnel and Hayden of Sales Geek. So guys, if you could just introduce yourselves briefly and then we can take it from there. We'll start with you, Kelly.
Okay, yep. So I'm Kelly Smith, owner and founder of Juice Personnel. We supply temporary and permanent staff to clients across West Yorkshire predominantly, but on a further outreach, the majority of Yorkshire. So we've been with the Chamber since we started for about 21 years.
Okay.
We joined when we had offices in Huddersfield, relocated to Wakefield, but with the Chamber covering Kirklees, Calderdale and Wakefield, it felt it was a good membership to have to make sure we're reaching the companies across the Mid-Yorkshire region.
There you go. And it has that gravitas, isn't it? Being a part of the chamber, it kind of raises your profile.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Obviously, there's lots of events taking place and it has great networking events as well. So, yeah, it's a good platform to make sure you're reaching connections outside of your Wakefield area.
Ones.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what about you, Hayden?
Yes, so I'm an owner of the franchise model of Sales Geek, so I have my own limited businesses that's in this area, in Wakefield, West and South Yorkshire. And what we do effectively is businesses are brilliant at what they do, but often they struggle to sell that brilliance, so they struggle to break through that glass ceiling. So we install confidence in individuals from a sales perspective to allow them to go and sell ethically right, but also we'll build the structures, whatever that may be in the businesses, so they've got confidence in the structure that it's going to get them from where they are now to where they want to get to.
Brilliant.
And we do that through fractional sales director, sales coaching, and also sales training as well, so they can execute everything that they're building the business as well.
Sounds great. And how did you get involved with the chamber yourself?
So myself, it's more a recent involvement that I've got with the chamber as well, because I've only recently come my business into the Wakefield area.
Okay.
But I've also partnered up with another sales geek in the area who looks after Huddersfield and Halifax.
Okay.
So it was a bit of a no-brainer for us to get involved with the Mid Yorkshire Chamber. I like to call it my chamber. I always have my chamber.
My chamber, right?
Yeah, from Bradford as well.
Yeah.
From the areas that we cover as well. From an exposure point of view, the connections you make, the community as well, and the types of conversations that we're having with the chamber. And also, one thing I like about the chamber is the access to some of the senior people within there as well.
Yep.
So it's not just you're not just at the bottom end. You can have them types of conversation of how you could potentially collaborate and grow. Ideas for what we can do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we recently celebrated 170 years of the chamber. Been to some of the My Conference events, met some people that I've had some really good connections with, some of which have ended up being my clients, and others who are in pipeline. We're looking to be working together very shortly, Hayden. So I found value in that way, and I feel it is a varied membership. Basically, you do have, like me, I'm fairly new to the chamber. I know there's some young businesses as well, such as Sam Till Productions, which I'd met him from a while ago. I know David's companies is fairly young and that sort of thing. With it having turned 170, what comes to mind for you? What does that mean to you about the chamber?
Well, any business that's been, or any establishment that's been going for that long, is obviously worthy of being in existence, isn't it? 170
Absolutely.
years is a long time for anything to still be going for. So it's obviously
definitely.
a credible organisation.
Yeah. And yourself, Jaden?
Exactly the same.
Hayden,
It's an established business. It's got good foundations
Yeah.
of where it is, and it's had to evolve over time as any organisation, business do, it goes through peaks and it goes through troughs, and it is a period of time where you're having to pivot because of what's happening out there in the market, and the things like that, which you're not about for 170 years unless you're able to do that and adapt quickly. And
I agree.
Being able to adapt and then also support your members and your business, and advise in that environment as well can also help.
Yeah, definitely. And for yourself, Kelly, what are some of the things that you've specifically found to be beneficial with you being a member of the Mid Yorkshire?
So we've attended the expos, which are really well attended, great run events. We've done the networking. Obviously, we've in our earlier days of business when we first set up, we did rely heavily on not the freebies, but the additional services that came with your membership. Okay. So health and safety advice, HR advice. I think we might have used the legal helpline once or twice. Okay. So as a new business back then, when obviously your money's tight, the membership did carry a lot of value because there were additional services that we could utilise.
Okay.
I think more so in the last sort of 2 to 3 years, it's been the exhibitions and the networking that we've taken full advantage of.
Yes. No, absolutely. I remember seeing your stand at, right?
I think we won the best stand award, Isaac.
Yeah, I think that was I know, right? That was one of my first times I kind of came across your stand. It is, when I showed you a little bit about my business. But I saw mesmerized. I was like, oh my God. I think what caught me is the attention to detail. Like every little thing that you had there. It was like a mind, for me. I was like, oh wow. It's a lot going on, but then it was like such an inspiration to be like, when people look at that, of course they'll feel inspired because it's all these little details, and really you're presenting yourself to other people, isn't it, to other businesses to see. So when I came away from that, I thought to myself, what, how could I potentially present my business out there in the world to people, which can give them an impression of who we are as a business without having to tangibly say it and that kind of thing. And I think I said it to you, and before you know it, you won that award. So I wasn't just
everybody loves a freebie though, don't they?
Yeah.
We're renowned for it.
Yeah. So would you say, for some of the businesses that haven't yet found out about the chamber, with the upcoming event, is it on the 23rd, Rachel? 23rd. Does it give them an opportunity to be able to showcase sort of their personalities and that sort of thing, as well as meeting other businesses?
Absolutely. And one of the things that's the advantage of them type of events, expos and things like that you can go to, is the fact that it's face to face. Yeah. From a relationship building, from building that connection, it's massively important. We do talk about a lot in what we do, completely different to Zoom calls, completely different to over the phone, and the email communication. You can build them relationships straight away.
Definitely.
I'm sales biased, that's what I focus on, but sales is based about relationships and building that trust and rapport as quickly as possible in them relationships, so you can start having them productive conversations, whether it's collaboration, or whether or not it could be somebody that potential, wants to use your services or the products from it as well. But that is massive for me from them expos, is being able to have that face-to-face,
interaction.
It accelerates that relationship so much faster.
Yeah.
And I think you'll agree, sales has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. 10 years ago, people were picking up the phone or emailing, and that was your sales tool, whereas now it's all about face-to-face networking.
Absolutely.
It's all about the expos. It's all about meeting people face-to-face. So, the exhibition is any new business, it's a great opportunity for them to, for the PR element as well, but just to get in front of their potential customers. You're in front of them. It's difficult for somebody to walk away.
Yeah.
But not so difficult to put a phone down. So it's a great opportunity to get in front of the people that you're wanting to talk to.
Yeah.
No, I will. Sorry,
because the fundamentals of sales, exactly what you're talking about there, hasn't changed. It hasn't changed, and building them relationships is all about. But the dynamics have changed of what's available to people.
Yeah.
So you're picking up phone to somebody that actually, they can go on Google,
exactly.
They're already experts before they've even spoken to you.
Yeah.
Whether or not that information is right, it's another different topic already, conversation to it. But it's very much changed. But that face-to-face interaction and being able to have that connection with people is massive.
It's really important. And I will speak from a perspective of a small business like mine. I remember when I joined, I was like maybe 3-4 months in. And then even now, I'm only almost a year in. So it gave me the opportunity to actually be able to pitch, or what do they call it, elevator pitch to people what my business is, because I haven't yet built kind of a reputation. I haven't yet built gravitas to where people can just come to me and buy. So it's kind of like you have to do the whole telling people what you're about, showing them that you're serious. And I think that's how I ended up getting your business, Kelly, isn't it? I showed you a little bit about what we do.
Absolutely,
Yeah, and I told you about it. And I feel like what you've said, a call or an email just does not carry the same amount of weight. Whereas when you're interacting with a human being, you do have to pitch. You do have to sort of sell yourself, not in a salesy way, but to explain why people should choose you as opposed to the next person, because you may very well have maybe 100 other people doing exactly what you're doing, but then what sets you apart from everybody else? So.
It's that early part of the sales process, or even your lead generation, your lead process, and it's about awareness. Yeah. And this is where there's a bit of an education piece on this, with that awareness piece, is when you go into expos, you're having that face-to-face interaction with people. Yeah. What you focus on is awareness and trying to get, that moving to the next phase of interest. You're not trying to sell. You're not, it's just so they're aware of you. Yeah. It's all part of a multi-channel approach, but the expos, along with the other events and the other things you can do, play a massive part in that. Definitely. So people, you've got that presence, and people start seeing more and more. You're a lot more front of mind, and it might be that timing isn't right at that expo, but they'll remember you.
But they will remember you.
When you're getting stand of the show and stuff like that, people remember it. The gimmicks some people do at the shows, the work.
They do.
Yeah, people remember it.
No, I'll agree with you in that some of my custom that I've been getting, especially this particular month, are people that I spoke to like 6 months ago. 8 months ago, we had a conversation, maybe had one-to-ones, and they'll come in guns blazing, like, oh yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready to do it now. And we had the conversation 6 months ago. So that impression and that impact piece, I think people underestimate how important it is, right? In that you create that impact, you speak to that person, you may not know that will be your prospect. As I said, coming from a fairly new business, I think you need those, right? Because the other avenues for me have proven challenging, because I understand you need the time to be in and then it will come, but you literally have to carry yourself forward one person at a time. And if it takes you speaking to each individual person, it does that. Another thing that I found of benefit is to meet people like yourself, Hayden, and other organizations that have helped move my business forward that do other services, whether it's Sales Geek or David, and I think he does website creation. Everything that they do is giving me some really useful tips. And then just other organizations as well that you ordinarily wouldn't think about, that I wasn't able to find on the internet. When I'm there, I find them, I'm like, how come I couldn't find you anywhere else? But when you're there, you
might not even know that you need them.
Yeah.
So then to be introduced to somebody and think, oh gosh, they could really help my business. You might not have been aware of them or known that you need them.
Yes.
So to be exposed to people who can help you, it's for the greater good, isn't it? But for something like yourself, people know what it is, but do they? No. So, if you're ringing them and telling them what you do, I think your service is definitely one that people need to see. And see what you do and see your production. Otherwise, it's it's not really something that they might be aware of or familiar with or know anything about it. Yep. So for yourself, I think expos and the networking is fabulous.
Absolutely. Yeah, because people see, people don't understand the role podcasting play from a marketing perspective. That, when they just see it as a podcast, it's audible and it goes on, rather than looking at the bigger picture that always comes with. So there's a couple of things that I always point out with exhibitions. Yeah, is one of them is as well is, yes, you're making that relationships, but that expo's got to be part of the bigger picture. So the membership of the chamber and other things that are going on, other network events. But what's key with that as well is the fact that if you're getting leads or you're having conversations at them expos as well, making sure that you're following up on it, making sure you're going to the next network event, because consistency and presence, it's not, you're not just going to go to a expo, a single expo, and then all of a sudden you're going to get loads of leads and they're all going to come run to you.
No.
You're starting building them relationships, or it may be that you've been talking to somebody before and it's a good place for them to come.
Yeah.
come to that expo and arrange, potentially sit down, brew him at that meet, at that expo, so you can have that extra conversation. Yeah. But it's making sure that follow-up process as well, right? Attending now, whether it's following up on LinkedIn or making sure that it's a bigger package than just that expo. So then the other things that happen at the chamber, alongside the expo, it all comes as part of your big picture outreach campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. And that credibility piece is so huge, because sometimes, yes, it may come from yourself speaking to people, but I've also realized it from advocates, again, such as yourself, Kelly, such as yourself. You've seen me a couple of times. What you say, the consistency, and your the aim should be to build a longer term relationship, and that takes time.
Yeah,
that takes investing. Before you know it, people are advocating for your business on your behalf. So again, I've ended up having business because people are like, oh yeah, we've been hearing a lot of good things about you, we've been seeing you, and different people are saying the same things, so we're ready to come and do business. I know for a fact an email or a call wouldn't have been able to do that.
No, but that is the whole point of networking, and I suppose the strength that the chamber has is it's same networking events once a month. So the same people go, so you're just forging those stronger relationships, and people do buy from people, and they buy more if they trust you. So by seeing you regularly, seeing that you're consistent, you might meet somebody at a networking group once and never see them again. I probably wouldn't ring them if I needed their services.
No.
But if I saw somebody every month or every week,
you feel familiar.
I'll ring them first.
Yeah. I've seen it at network event at expos where we're talking, and sometimes they won't even have a conversation with you first. They'll be just throwing something in your hand, a flyer or a business card, for example, or something like that, rather than actually try and have a conversation with you, just to start, and it can be talking about anything, but you're building that rapport. What happens to them when you just get that business card or you just get that leaflet? And 9 times out of 10, they're left behind. I've seen that happen at expos and network events, and it's just... And it's, people don't know what they don't know, right? And it's just to see it, but it's, you've got to understand it as part of that bigger picture. But it's so beneficial when you get it right.
Definitely. So, I mean, Kelly, what would be your advice for a first timer who's considering, they're saying that, they're going to go to their first expo? What are some of the things that you would suggest for them to consider as they go to that? Because I do understand it can be a bit of an expense. You have to be prepared. But if you're starting from a place of maybe minimal resources, what would you generally recommend to a person like that? Maybe a startup and they're new in what they're doing.
So it doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, you know that we love our merchandise, but we've got 21 years of merchandise to play with. But Terry goes out to networking meetings and she takes a Kit Kat. And on the Kit Kat, it says, let's have a quick chat.
No way.
And everybody knows Terry for her Kit Kats, and they cost, 30p? And that's it. It's literally, she's printed off the labels, she's got her QR code on the back, and then you ring them up after you've met them at the expo, and it's like, shall I come and have a coffee and we'll share that Kit Kat?
Wow.
It's so cheap and it's really effective, and she is actually known as Terry the Kit Kat lady.
No way. I'm going to call her that.
But when you attend an expo, what's really important is that you don't waste your money and go to the expo and then not do anything with anything that you've got from the day. Get the delegate list before you go, make contact with those people before you attend.
Okay.
Will you come and see my stand? I look forward to seeing you at stand number 26. Come and have a chat with me. Follow it up. Did you enjoy it? Did you come to my stand? If you just go, turn up and then go home, it's likely to be a waste of time and a waste of money. You can't rely on everybody else to do the work for you. You've got to put yourself out there. And just going back to the conversation thing, it's amazing how many people you'll chat to at an expo and they'll be like, so are you looking for health and safety? And it's just instant turn off.
Yeah, you're trying to sell and you don't even know me. Yeah, I've had
So we always say, what are you here for? What are you looking for today? Are you here for a reason? Get them talking first. Ask them why they're there, what they're looking for. And they might say, I'm looking for some new suppliers, or I'm looking to sell my business. Get them chatting about themselves first. And once they've done their little 2 minutes, then go, well, this is what we do. So I just always find it's nicer to get them speaking first and show interest in them rather than blab on about yourself.
No, I absolutely agree 100%.
Absolutely. You know, there's some people, you know, I'll have conversations with people and they'll go, so, you know, top tips for sales and stuff like that. And there's one thing I'll always say is it's curiosity.
Yeah.
It's question that curiosity.
Yeah.
So if you just start pitching and selling from at this first point, you're that salesman that nobody likes.
Yeah.
No.
And that's why it's got the stigma it has, because you're coming across it. And a lot of it's just down to an experience.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're starting them conversations, you know, people love talking about themselves, so get them talking about themselves. You know, why they're there. And it couldn't just be simple things, you know, the rest of it you're doing it, but keep asking them questions around it as well. And have, you know, like I say, we're turning the Kit Kats, that's amazing. Have something, it doesn't have to be expensive. I've seen people that have gone to town on expensive things. I've seen, you know, there were one at Barnsley, one at Expo went to, and it was a cleaning company, and they had a false window, and people were racing to see how quickly they could clean it. But people remember it.
Yeah.
You
it's
know,
memorable. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You know, it's little things like that work as well.
Yeah.
So there's a number of different things that you can do, but, and I think you mentioned it as well, it's a follow-up afterwards. You've got to get that right afterwards with it. I went to see a business a while ago. I'd been to an expo, and they had 104 leads that they had, you know, from either business cards that they had that you still need to make connections with, you know, and grow that relationship. They might not be ready to buy then. We were, I think they're about 8-9 weeks after the event. So I went, so how many people have you connected with afterwards? Guess how many?
How many?
Oh, no, don't say none.
None.
Oh, nobody will know who you are.
We haven't had time to do it yet.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing, you know, you can gain that kind of traction at an expo, but you've got to make sure the follow-up's right afterwards.
Up. Yeah. No, there you go.
Absolutely.
That's actually a really important fact that I think I might have underrated myself, but I think it's such brilliant advice.
And even if, you know, you don't have to be that salesperson who's following up going, when can I come and see it? You could just follow it up. Nice to see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the event?
Yeah.
End of. And just tap into them every so often with little conversations, and eventually your relationships forge, and then you'll bump into them at another network, and then it's like, oh, hi.
How's it going?
And all of a
Remember
sudden
me?
you've got a new friend and you've got a new relationship, and ultimately you might end up getting business from them.
Definitely. I always try and do it with one-to-ones.
Yeah.
So because for me, one-to-ones are really great, because I feel like what you said earlier, the space is a selling point too. So when we do one-to-one and they agree to come here, part of it is to get them to experience the studio, and hopefully that may convert into a sale. So they work out really well in terms of, oh, you know, would you like to do a coffee? But I always say it can either be virtual or it can be in person. So I never sort of push it to be like, do you want to come to my, you know, it's just, let's follow up, you know, let me tell you a little bit about what I do, and then they can tell me about what they do. It almost guarantees that I'm going to follow up once I book to say, okay, do you have some space in your schedule? Let's book when we can, you know, follow up and that kind of thing. So
you know, they are the good event, you know, and you mentioned, you know, to reinforce what you were talking about the delegate list. You know, if you get it right with expos, make sure you're planning it right to get the most out of the date. You've got, you know, depending on size of expo, there could, you know, you've got between over 50 companies, you know, or plus there that potentially could be people you want to work with. So make sure you're taking that time to do it.
Yeah, I think it was the last expo. We got the delegate list, and there were 3 or 4 clients on there, not clients, potential clients, that we knew we wanted to work with. So we literally made our way to their stands and introduced ourselves. We made a beeline to go and make sure they knew who we were, and but not having that delegate list first, we wouldn't have known.
You wouldn't have known where to go.
No.
There you go.
And as well, use your exhibitors. They're your first, you know, your first leads. Walk round, meet everybody. Oh, I'm on this stand. Say hello to everybody.
There you go.
Don't just rely on the people walking round. Go chat to all the other businesses. They're selling something, but they might always be looking to buy. They might be wanting to buy as well.
Or better yet, they could end up being your advocate.
Exactly.
Because usually there's opportunity, I would say, for cross-pollination. So you might have somebody that's not interested in exactly what I'm selling, but they may know
their
like 10 people. Exactly. They will know 10 people that will need what I... So always have that mindset of saying, you know...
So going back to the chamber, because I know this is what we're supposed to be speaking about, the chamber has a directory of members, doesn't it? Which when I first started out in business, that was literally my sales tool.
Really?
I sat and went from the letter A to the letter Z, ringing everybody in the directory. Who uses your recruitment? Who do I speak to? And that created my first database. I'm sure you still do a members directory.
So we've got a PDF that you can request. and we can send it out. And we're just building an area. We can host that on the website. So it's easy.
Oh wow!
So that in
That's a really
itself,
good tip.
so I forgot about that. But yeah, I had the old like Yellow Pages member directory, and we just went through and rang everybody, finding out if they used and if they didn't. Users went on the database, them that didn't. But as part of your membership, if you've got access to all the members, that's a great little sales tool to get you started. That's relatively cheap.
Definitely.
And if there's a small number of prospects on that list that really are in your target audience, then probably creating work for Rachel as well in Chambers. But don't be afraid to ask them for intros.
Yeah, that's what they're here for.
Yeah,
Connections.
Yeah.
Even for an introduction, isn't it? Like what you've said, go back to the list, have a look at it, see the potentials, and say, "Oh, could you potentially do an introduction?"
Yeah.
Because obviously, that's a really good.
Don't get me wrong. If you're being asked to introduce to everybody on the list, I don't think it's going to
not
happen.
going to be every single
the
person.
key ones on there, then there's that.
Yeah, I think there are ways to be able to determine like people that already have social media. People, for me personally, like people that are already doing video. So it'll be like it's targeted, but it's more clever.
But the other thing as well about the expos that they do through Mid Yorkshire Chambers, there's a lot of speakers there as well that are free They're there. Plan your day out and go get that education whilst you're there as well. It's not just about the exhibition as well. There's a lot of other things going on
Brilliant.
as well.
Yeah. I mean, the next one is in Wakefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
You guys
Wakefield
excited?
Right?
Because I mean, it's home turf for us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm saying,
so the new stand at last. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
I think that's the very first one I ever went to. Was I in Wakefield?
I think it might have been Kirklees first.
Yeah. Or was I in Huddersfield? I can't remember.
So we met at the John Smith Stadium last
Yes.
October, was it?
June. We had one in June and then we had one March just gone for Kirklees. So Kirklees is generally a springtime event.
Okay.
But yeah, back to Wakefield for the last one of the year.
Yes. So what can we look forward to for that one as we just wind down now, as we close the conversation with the upcoming My Conference? What's there for us to look forward to?
It's going to be really good. So we've got about 45 exhibitors already booked on. We've got a few more spaces left. So we've just sent that information out to exhibitors to see if anybody in their network would fit those bills. The stadium have really kindly said we can have food vendors again. So that's something we're doing in Calderdale for the first time. So we're on the lookout now for some food vendors that want to come down and have a bit of a pop-up food market outside. So we've got space for sort of 6 or 7 different food vendors. And then speaking, we've got Hayden.
Wow, I'm going to attend that one.
Sharing with us. We also have Sam Teal, who you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So he is freshly 22 and very keen to expand his community. He works a lot in his local community over in Cleckheaton, but he's sharing about naivety in youth and business. We've got the local authority with us. We've got Adventure coming down, sharing about the different business support opportunities at different stages of business. So there really is something for all businesses. It's not aimed at new businesses. It's not aimed at big existing businesses. We wanted to spread that out and get as many people as possible engaging with each other and forging these new relationships.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait. One last thing I didn't touch on. Congratulations on your award.
Thanks.
Right.
Not just for the best stand.
Right. No, but for the best business.
Community Hero. The Community Hero Award, which is
there you go.
A lovely award to be recognised for. Yeah.
Most definitely.
So thank you for that.
I think you do deserve that. So we won as well. Wakefield area.
Yeah, you bet me on that one, didn't you?
Right. I was like, right. I was so excited I won. I was like, I wasn't even thinking.
We were delighted you won.
Yeah, so no, it's really good for a fairly young business, everything that we've been doing. Again, even that in itself, it helps with profile and gravitas. Yeah.
I'm feeling like a gooseberry now. I need to start entering these awards, don't I now?
I saw you post an award on LinkedIn. But I know it was...
No, it was a Geek award. Yeah,
okay.
We have a mini Geek like Oscars between us all.
There you go. I was like, that looks like a really shiny award.
Yeah, we're classed as the... what's woman's name that writes Harry Potter? It's gone out of my head.
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling Award for Resilience.
Okay, brilliant. Won something. So, and then we've got the upcoming Wakefield Awards as well.
That's very exciting.
Very exciting. We won't touch too much on that because time. But also I was going to say, is there anything that you want to add just before we close off?
No. We need to talk about the expo and getting people there. But, like I said, I'm speaking there as well. So come along. Brilliant. And the one thing I will say about that is, yes, there's that education piece I'm doing, but I'm a person about real life situations. I've been in sales coming up to nearly 25 years, so most of the stuff I do is on experience. So come and talk to me. I like people picking my brains. I can talk sales forever. So if you're coming to them talks or come in, then more than happy for you to come and just pick my brains for a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking forward as well doing some work for you in regards to that, maybe putting out on digital, video, audio, and that kind of thing, and also just working together in general, because I know my business can use.
Yeah, and that's something that we potentially work with Chamber with as well, and the rest of it. It's creating, we're mapping it out at the minute, podcast kind of series that we're showcasing local businesses, but it's an educational piece for it. It's not a pitch. It's educational, and it's bringing different people to panel as such that can add value.
Yes,
definitely. Yeah, we did one with Isaac in May about mental health and how mental health first aid trainers and PT sessions and food and nutritionalists can come into the workplace to encourage or improve staff retention, and it was brilliant, wasn't it? So definitely. Podcasting's great to showcase businesses, not like you say, not necessarily selling them,
give value.
So
No, I mean, I had a conversation with Emma as well leading up to this podcast, and I was saying to her, I see the value of the Chamber having their own podcast, bringing on different people, right? just because of the amount of information that you have to give and the amount of value, also the diversity of businesses. There's just so much that you can pick on, and in different formats. I think it would really be a nice draw for people.
And I think moving into the 21st century, I think the Chamber would benefit massively from being able to showcase what they do via this, because I don't think a lot of businesses have grasped onto this concept yet and how effective it really is. So for the Chamber, I think it'd be a great little...
Yeah, I think we cover such a big geographical area as well. It's impossible for such a small team to be everywhere all at once.
By yourselves,
Be able to have people build that relationship with you even through a screen, so they know who you are.
Exactly.
They know what you're talking about.
It's a quick outreach, isn't it?
It really adds to what they then can get out of a face-to-face meeting with you, because they're prepared for it.
Definitely.
They've read up, they've listened, they know exactly what questions they want answers to then. So it's definitely something we'd like.
And there's a shift in the way people like communication. I've used it from sales head on, but people don't want to read through a load of stuff. If they can listen to something or they can visually see it, they're more likely to pay attention to it.
It's better. And another one, even the shorts, the shorter clips, some of them will just consume it that way, and then the short clips get them interested enough to listen to the longer one. But the audio bit that you've said is so important as well, because there are some people that purely consume their content via audio, whether it's in their commute or when they're doing things. Dog walk, sometimes working, like I'm doing my work, consuming something else, believe it or not, whilst I'm editing something. So there really is a market for that. And I think that's what I love about Podmatic, in that we give the option for different avenues of consumption, whether it's long video, whether it's the short videos, or whether it's just audio, which is just the audio or even like voiceover immersive audio, which is another one where people just have their headphones in and they're just listening to it that way.
So the more, the more routes to members having access to people at the chambers and access to that information, the better. And I was saying today, I guess this is a start, or the planting of a seed of something, because we are surrogates today on behalf of the chamber. So with how this comes out, hopefully, not even hopefully, I know that will be motivation for us to do more work on your behalf. And then maybe, as you've said, Hayden, which is more focused, more educational, have experts, have people that know what they're talking about, come here and just use this as a medium of communication with the rest of the world. Absolutely.
No, it's been absolutely brilliant, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for our Podmatic X Mid Yorkshire Chamber Brandcast. And yes, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and listen and watch this content. So brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.